Welcome back to the Deep Dive, the place where we turn massive amounts of technical reading into actionable, professional insights.
Today, we are undertaking a truly foundational deep dive.
hmm
And frankly, it's one of the most critical for anyone pursuing certification or, working as a professional nail technician.
Exactly. We are moving far beyond the simple bottle of polish and diving headfirst into the absolute science of the service.
Hmm.
This knowledge will elevate you from someone who just applies products to someone who truly understands the complex biology they are treating.
Our subject today is general anatomy and physiology, which is, the science of the human machine. Specifically, we're focusing on those critical structures in the hands and feet.
Right.
Our mission is to understand how these systems work, from the microscopic cell right up to the systemic connections, to ensure that every single service you provide is not just beautiful, but safe, effective, and, well, fundamentally professional.
I think that framing is perfect. It's like when you understand the engine, you become a far better and safer driver.
That's a great analogy.
And I love the quote we started with from Vanabanta. Impossible is not a scientific term. That's the mindset we need here. This mountain of knowledge, it might feel impossible to climb right now, but by breaking it down scientifically, you will master it.
And let's emphasize the immediate practical payoff for you, the student, or the current professional listening.
Yeah.
This knowledge base A&P, it provides the scientific foundation required to determine appropriate treatments.
Okay, so the why behind the what.
Precisely. It tells you when to proceed, when to modify a service, and critically, when to refer a client to a doctor because you recognize a contraindication or an unusual condition.
It gives you that scientific legitimacy, right? Every safe application of product, every precise filing motion, and every therapeutic massage manipulation, it all stems from this understanding.
It does. And we must always remember that being a licensed professional grants you this incredible privilege, this honor of touching people as part of your occupation. To honor that touch, you really need a profound and deep understanding of their body structures and how they function.
Let's start with the essential terminology check-in. These are guaranteed concepts you will see on exams, and you need to be crystal clear on the difference between the what and the how.
Absolutely. Let's define our terms immediately.
First up, we have anatomy, anata. That is the study of structures and what those structures are made of. When you study anatomy, you are mapping the body, you are answering the question, what is present? Where's the bone? Where's the muscle?
It's the blueprint.
A blueprint, exactly.
Then we move to physiology, physiology. Now, this is the functional side. It's the study of the functions and activities performed by those structures from the blueprint.
So this answers the question, how do they work?
Exactly. How does the nail plate grow? How does a muscle contract? It's the how.
And finally, a term that's especially critical for anyone dealing with skin and nails is histology. Histology. This is sometimes referred to as microscopic anatomy.
Right. Histology is the study of the structure and composition of tissue. Since your entire career revolves around the largest organ of the body, the skin, and its appendages, like the nail plate, you just have to understand the microscopic composition of tissue to recognize healthy barriers versus compromised or unhealthy conditions.
That's a key professional and exam term. You've got to nail that one down.
For sure.
Excellent. So we're moving from the big picture, the entire body system, down to the foundational building blocks. Let's transition into Module 1, the micro world of cells and tissues. This is where we truly begin our deep dive at the level of life itself.
Everything starts here. The cell, S-E-L-L-Z, is the basic unit of all living things. The human body is composed of, well, trillions of cells, and each one independently carries on all the life processes required for survival.
And when we talk about things like product penetration, repair, or hydration, we are fundamentally talking about cell health.
Right, that's the bottom line. It all happens at the cellular level.
The source material provided a wonderful, universally relatable analogy for visualizing cell structure, the raw egg metaphor. I love this because it takes something invisible and makes it tangible for the learner.
It's a fantastic teaching tool. So let's break it down using that analogy.
Yeah.
When you crack a raw egg, the colorless, jelly-like substance, the egg white, is like the protoplasm, protoplasm.
Okay.
This is the substance inside the cell that contains all the necessary components for life. Proteins, fats, carbohydrates, mineral salts, and most importantly, water.
And inside that white sits the yolk, which acts as the control center. So that dense, active protoplasm in the center is the nucleus, N-O-nucleus.
This structure is critical because it directs cell reproduction and metabolism. Without a functioning nucleus, the cell just can't survive or replicate.
It's the brain of the operation.
It's the brain. And within the nucleus is the nucleoplasm, a fluid that houses proteins and the critical strands of DNA deoxyribonucleic acid. The DNA is the blueprint, determining your entire genetic makeup, everything from your height to the characteristics of your skin and nails.
Moving outside the nucleus but still contained within the cell is the cytoplasm, S-Y-toplasm. If the nucleus is the hard drive, the cytoplasm is maybe the operating environment.
That's a good way to think about it. It's necessary for all the daily functions of the cell, including growth, reproduction, and self-repair. It's where the work gets done.
And within that operating system, the cytoplasm, you find the cell's incredible energy centers, the mitochondria.
Yes, the powerhouses.
Yeah.
Their job is to take in the nutrients from the protoplasm, break them down, and create chemical energy for the cell in the form of adenosine triphosphate, ATP.
That ATP is essentially the currency of metabolism. It's what fuels everything the cell does.
Absolutely.
And what's fascinating is the sheer variability. The source mentioned muscle cells, which require constant high-energy output, may have thousands of mitochondria, yet red blood cells, whose primary function is just oxygen transport, have none.
Right, which tells you immediately where the body is placing its energetic priorities. It's incredibly efficient.
And finally, every cell needs a security system and a protective layer. That's the job of the cell membrane. Cell membrane.
It encloses all that precious protoplasm, and crucially, it is selectively permeable.
What does that mean exactly, selectively permeable?
It means it acts like a sophisticated security checkpoint. It controls which beneficial substances, like water or essential nutrients, are allowed to enter, and it makes absolutely sure that waste products are efficiently ushered out. It protects the cell and helps link similar cells together to form tissues.
Understanding the membrane's selective permeability is key to our work then, because it dictates how efficiently the active ingredients in our products, whether it's a moisturizer or a treatment oil, can actually penetrate and be utilized by the cell.
That is the whole game right there. Product effectiveness depends on getting past that membrane.
Now that we know the structure, let's discuss the cell's function. 1.2. Cell life and practical relevance through the lens of metabolism. The most fundamental function is reproduction. Cells reproduce via mitosis, dividing into two completely identical daughter cells. This process is literally responsible for the growth of your client's nail plate and the repair of any minor skin damage.
And to achieve this healthy growth and division, the cell needs specific favorable conditions: adequate food, plenty of oxygen, sufficient water, suitable temperatures, and vitally effective waste elimination.
And this is where the practical application really hits home. If a client has compromised circulation, say cold hands or restricted blood flow, that creates an unfavorable condition.
A very unfavorable condition. Toxin buildup starts, nutrients can't reach the cells efficiently, and the cells become impaired or may even die. This affects everything from the rate of nail growth to the success of a repair treatment.
So that brings us directly to metabolism, the cell's continuous 24-hour chemical factory.
Right. It's the entire chemical process through which cells are nourished and carry out all their functional activities.
And metabolism has two perfectly balanced phases. The first is anabolism, NAHbolism, the constructive phase. I like to think of this as the building phase.
It is the building phase. It combines smaller molecules, like amino acids, to build larger, more complex ones, simultaneously storing resources. This is literally the process of building new keratin material for the nail plate or repairing the skin barrier.
Okay, and the second phase is catabolism, cutabolism, the destructive phase.
Right. And this is where complex molecules are broken down to release the necessary energy. That energy fuels all activity, like flexing the muscles to file, or even the subtle chemical work happening inside the cell.
So if anabolism is building and catabolism is fueling movement and breaking down waste, how should a nail professional think about that balance? If we are focusing on improving nail strength, are we trying to optimize the intake of materials to support anabolism?
Absolutely. When a client uses a nourishing cuticle oil or a strengthening product, we are supporting the anabolic processes. We're giving the cells the raw materials they need.
Got it.
Conversely, when we provide a deeply relaxing massage, the catabolic energy released helps muscle function and removes waste, improving overall tissue health. The key relevance for you is that aging, disease, or poor diet slows metabolism.
Ah, okay.
The efficiency of a client's metabolism dictates their response to everything:
What?
product absorption, repair time, and even their inflammation response.
So cells, when grouped, form tissues. Let's move to 1.3, grouping for function. Tissues. A tissue, TISU, is simply a collection of similar cells that all work together to perform a specialized function. And remember, the body is about 60% water, which just underscores the need for constant hydration to maintain healthy tissue structure.
And there are 4 essential tissue types you really need to know for your practice and for any examination.
Number 1, connective tissue. According to the TAS, this is the supportive framework it binds, protects, and supports. Think of bone, cartilage, ligaments, tendons, but also blood and lymph.
And don't forget adipose tissue, adipose, TISU, which is fat.
Right, fat.
Adipose tissue is hugely important in the extremities, especially the feet. It provides that essential cushioning, gives contour, and acts as insulation and protection for the deeper organs. Without that adipose padding on the heel, walking would be profoundly painful.
2 is epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue. This forms the protective covering on body surfaces. For us, this is the skin, the mucous membranes, and the lining of organs.
So the boundary, it's the critical barrier we work with every single day.
3 is muscle tissue, MUH-ACLSU. Its function is singular and critical to contract and move parts of the body. We'll spend a great deal of time on this when we talk about practical massage.
For sure.
And finally, 4 is nerve tissue, NURV tissue. This is the electrical wiring composed of specialized cells called neurons. Its purpose is to carry messages to control and coordinate all body functions through the central nervous system.
That microscopic foundation is so essential. Now we can scale up. Tissues form organs, and organs form systems. Let's transition into Module 2, the body systems and the physical frame, focusing first on the skeletal system.
Right. An organ is simply specialized tissues performing a specific task. The heart pumping, the lungs breathing. A body system, EAHD-system, is a group of organs working together for a unified goal.
And there are 11 main systems, but we are focusing on the 6 most relevant to the nail professional. The circulatory, muscular, nervous, skeletal, lymphatic immune, and the integumentary systems.
Let's start with the literal foundation. 2.2. The skeletal system, skeletal system. This is the physical foundation of the body, composed of 206 distinct bones in the adult body. The study of bones is called osteology, O-S-T-A-H-L-O-G.
The relevance here cannot be overstated. Consider this fact. More than half of the bones in the entire body are found in the hands and feet.
Wow, that's incredible. More than half.
More than half. The structures you massage, file, and cleanse are the most complex bone groupings in the entire human frame.
That structural complexity is why we, as professionals, have to understand its support functions. The source outlined 5 crucial functions of the skeletal system, which are major exam points.
They are: Number 1, giving shape and support to the body. 2, protecting internal structures and vital organs.
Okay, support and protection.
3, serving as the necessary attachments for muscles, acting as levers to produce movement.
4, producing blood cells. That's the vital bone marrow function, which connects the skeletal system directly to the body's circulatory and immune response.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And 5, storing essential minerals like calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, and sodium. This mineral storage function is a dynamic process that helps maintain the body's overall chemical balance.
Now, a point of connection between 2 or more bones is called a joint, J-O-Y-N-T. We deal with movable joints like elbows and knees, and immovable joints like in the skull and talus.
Right. And when clients report joint pain, remember that the pain is often not the bone itself, but the inflammation of the surrounding connective tissue, the ligaments, tendons, and cartilage.
That's a great distinction. Let's focus on 2.3, bones of service, arms, and hands. Understanding these specific structures is essential for safe and comfortable arm massage manipulation.
We start with the single bone of the upper arm, the humerus, H-Y-O-M-U-R-I-S. It's the uppermost and largest bone of the arm, extending from the elbow up to the shoulder.
Below the elbow, we encounter the 2 parallel bones of the forearm. The ulna, U-L-N-U, is the longer forearm bone. A great way to visualize its location is that it sits on the side of the forearm corresponding to the little finger.
And it's also noticeably larger at the elbow. Its partner is the radius, R-A-Y-D-S. This is the shorter forearm bone, located on the side of the forearm, corresponding to the thumb, and it's largest at the wrist.
Why does knowing the radius and ulna matter beyond, just passing the exam?
It's crucial because these bones articulate to allow rotation, the turning of the palm up and down. If a client has limited mobility or experiences pain when rotating their arm, understanding which bone is connected to the relevant muscle, like the supinator or pronator, it informs where you need to focus your pressure during massage to increase comfort.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, moving into the complex structures of the wrist and hand. The carpus, Ka-arpus, is the wrist joint itself.
Right. It's composed of 8 small, irregular carpal bones, held tightly together by ligaments, giving it flexibility and strength.
And here is a critical professional safety connection for every technician listening.
This is huge.
Repetitive motions inherent in our work, especially aggressive filing or constant flexing of the wrist, can cause painful inflammation in the carpus area, leading to conditions like carpal tunnel syndrome or other repetitive stress injuries.
That's huge for career longevity. If your wrist is consistently locked or flexed at an awkward angle while working, you're putting undue stress on those 8 small carpal bones and surrounding tissues.
So keeping that wrist straight, relaxed, and neutral is non-negotiable for a sustainable career.
Absolutely non-negotiable. Next are the bones of the palm, the metacarpus. There are 5 long, slender bones here situated between the carpus and the fingers.
And finally, the bones of the fingers or toes, the phalanges, also known as digits. And it's good to remember the practical purpose. The fingernails themselves exist to provide rigid, hard protection for the delicate, sensitive tips of these phalanges.
That's their whole job. Now for the lower half. 2.4. Bones of service, legs and feet. The largest and heaviest bone in the entire body is the femur, the bone above the knee. The accessory bone that forms the kneecap is the patella.
Below the knee, we again have 2 bones. The tibia is the larger bone, often called the shin bone. You can easily feel its prominence. It forms the large bump on the big toe side of the ankle.
And the fibula, is the smaller bone, which forms the bump on the little toe side of the ankle. The ankle joint itself, which allows the crucial pivoting action of the foot, is formed by the tibia, the fibula, and the tibialis, the large ankle bone that rests on the heel.
The foot itself is a structural marvel, containing 26 bones designed to absorb massive amounts of impact and support the entire body weight. These 26 bones are subdivided into 3 categories.
First, we have 7 tarsal bones, which are those ankle bones, including the talus and the large calcaneus, which is the heel bone.
Second, the 5 metatarsal bones, which are long and slender, forming the arch and ball of the foot.
And third, the toe bones, or phalanges. Just like the fingers, there are 3 phalanges in each toe, except the great toe, which only has 2. This density and complexity explain why foot support, proper shoe choice, and effective massage manipulation are so critical in a pedicure service.
That incredible structure sets the stage for movement. Let's shift our focus now to Module 3, Motion, Sensation, and Safety, covering the muscular and nervous systems. If bones are the levers, muscles are the engine.
Exactly. The muscular system, muscular, covers, shapes, and supports the entire skeletal framework. It is responsible for all movement.
The scientific study of muscle structure and function is myology. We're discussing a massive system over 600 muscles, making up about 40% of the body's total weight.
And we deal with 3 types of muscle tissue. First, the most important for us, striated, or skeletal muscles. These are voluntary muscles, meaning they are consciously controlled, and they're the ones attached directly to the bones, enabling us to walk, talk, and perform detailed filing work.
Second are non-striated or smooth muscles. These are involuntary. They function automatically without our conscious will, controlling things like the movement of food through the digestive tract or the diameter of our blood vessels.
And third is cardiac muscle, which is the specialized involuntary muscle found only in the heart.
When we talk about massage and effective tissue manipulation, we have to understand the physical structure of a single muscle. Every muscle has 3 defined parts.
The origin, or our IHN, is the non-moving part. It is typically attached closest to the skeleton or in the largest, most stable area.
The insertion is the point of most movement. So when the muscle contracts, the insertion moves toward the origin.
Correct. And the belly, is simply the middle part of the muscle, the thickest fleshy mass.
This structure gives us the fundamental practical massage tip for every service. Pressure and manipulation should always be directed from the insertion toward the origin, moving toward the belly of the muscle.
And why is this directionality so important?
Well, I assume it's because massaging against the natural grain or direction of blood flow and muscle fibers can cause unnecessary strain or even bruising.
That's exactly it. Massaging insertion to origin supports the natural direction of the muscle fibers and promotes relaxation and lymphatic drainage back toward the core of the body.
Muscle tissue can be stimulated in many ways, which influences our service choices. We stimulate muscles through massage pressure and friction electrical currents, infrared light, dry heat, moist heat, like warm towels.
And, of course, the ever-present nerve impulses.
Now let's detail the 3.2, voluntary muscles of the arm and hand, which are critical for precision and manicure services. These are the muscles that allow you to hold a tool steady or perform a detailed art design.
Starting high. The muscles that attach the arm to the body and allow swinging motions include the latissimus dorsi, that's the large back muscle, the pectoralis major and minor, chest muscles, the serratus anterior, and the trapezius.
In the upper arm, we have the bicep, the front muscle that lifts and flexes the forearm. The deltoid, is the large triangular shoulder muscle that allows the arm to extend outward or to the side. And the tricep, covers the back of the upper arm and extends the forearm.
The forearm muscles are where the precision happens. We have the extensors, which straighten the wrist, hand, and fingers into a straight line.
This is the movement you use to flatten the client's palm onto the table.
Correct. And the flexors, are the corresponding muscles involved in bending the wrist, the movement required to turn the client's hand over or to curl their fingers.
Then we have rotational control. The pronators, turn the hand inward, making the palm face downward.
And the supinator, rotates the radius outward, turn the palm upward. These subtle rotational muscles are constantly engaged, both for the client holding still and for the technician maneuvering their hand.
Finally, micromanipulation in the hand itself. The abductors, separate the fingers. A good mnemonic is abduct for away.
And the adductors, draw the fingers together. So adduct for add. When you gently splay the client's fingers to get a file into the sidewalls, you are interacting directly with their abductor muscles.
Let's pivot to 3.3. Voluntary muscles of the leg and foot, which are foundational for professional pedicures.
The lower leg and calf muscles are powerful and often very tight on clients. The extensor digitorum longus runs down the front of the leg, allowing the foot to bend up and extending the four lesser toes.
The tibialis anterior covers the front of the shin, bending the foot upward and inward. When you see a client walking, this muscle is what prevents the foot from dragging.
On the outer calf, we find the peroneus longus and peroneus brevis. The longus covers the outer calf and is responsible for turning the foot outward. The brevis bends the foot down and out. This entire peroneal group assists in stability and walking.
And for power, the calf muscles. The gastrocnemius, attached to the heel via the Achilles tendon, pulls the foot down. And the soleus, underneath the gastrocnemius, also bends the foot down.
These are massive muscles that respond incredibly well to deep, targeted massage during a pedicure.
And down in the foot, we have small, vital muscles for support and balance. The flexor digiti minimi moves the little toe. The flexor digitorum brevis moves the lesser toes and helps maintain the crucial arch and balance.
Then the key balance muscles. The abductor hallucis moves the great toe and is instrumental in walking and balance. The abductor digiti minimi separates the toes. Knowing these muscles means you can provide really targeted relief for tired or sore feet.
Now, let's talk control and sensation. 3.4. The nervous system, NU-RVS-SIS-TUM. This system, composed of the brain, spinal cord, and all the nerve bundles, is the body's communication network.
And the scientific study of it is neurology, Nor-A-H-L-A-G.
Why is neurology so relevant to us? I mean, because understanding these pathways helps you execute proper massage, be mindful of safe touch, and most importantly, recognize and respect pain receptors and sensation.
That's the core of it. The nervous system is organized into three main subdivisions. First, the central nervous system, CNS. This is the control tower. The brain, the spinal cord, and the cranial and spinal nerves. It governs consciousness and all voluntary functions.
Second, we have the peripheral nervous system, PNS. This is the extensive network of wires that connects the outer or peripheral body parts, our hands and feet, to the CNS. It contains both sensory and motor nerves. It's the two-way street for all impulses.
Right. And third, the autonomic nervous system, ANS. This is the autopilot. It controls all involuntary muscles, smooths muscles, glands, heart rate, blood vessels, breathing. We don't consciously tell our heart to beat. The ANS takes care of it.
The fundamental unit here is the neuron, N-O-R-R, or nerve cell. Structurally, it has a cell body and a nucleus, but its specialized parts are key to communication.
Neurons have tree-like fibers called dendrites, D-E-N-drites. These fibers are the receivers. They bring impulses toward the cell body.
And conversely, the axon, AKSON, is a single long fiber that sends impulses away from the cell body to other neurons or muscles.
Exactly. And nerves themselves are just whitish cords made up of bundles of these fibers.
We have two main functional types of nerves. Sensory nerves, or afferent nerves, are the input lines. They carry messages to the brain, informing us of the environment, touch, cold, heat, and pain. Their endings, called receptors, are densely packed close to the skin surface.
And motor nerves, or efferent nerves, are the output lines. They carry impulses from the brain to the muscles or glands, telling them to act, which produces movement or secretion.
Linking these two is the reflex, reflex, which is an immediate, automatic, and unlearned reaction to a stimulus. If you accidentally touch something sharp, the impulse goes from the sensory receptor to the spinal cord, and a responsive impulse immediately returns along a motor neuron to make you flinch.
All before your brain is even consciously aware of the pain. It's a pure survival mechanism.
Now let's focus intensely on the single most critical safety point related to the nervous system and our profession: nail bed sensation. This demands your full attention.
I cannot emphasize this enough. This is a topic that every single nail professional needs to understand deeply.
The source material draws a vital distinction. There are sensory nerve endings in the nail bed specialized to detect pressure. We know this because when you push down on the nail plate, you feel the impulse, the push, the plate activity.
Yes, you feel that pressure. However, and this is the critical part, the nerve endings in the nail bed lack the specialized receptors necessary for detecting heat as effectively or immediately as the skin on your fingertips does.
Wow. Okay, so that distinction is profoundly dangerous in a service context.
It's incredibly dangerous. Think about friction. If you use an electric file aggressively, or if you file a traditional nail enhancement too quickly, the friction generates heat. If a client tells you they feel that heat, damage may already be occurring.
Because the tissues under the nail plate, the delicate nail bed, did not have the immediate warning system that the surface skin has.
Exactly. This excessive heat literally causes the tissue underneath to become damaged and inflamed, leading to onycholysis, onycholysis.
Which is what, exactly?
It is the physical and often painful separation of the nail plate from the nail bed. It creates an open space underneath the plate and is a classic direct result of thermal damage or friction burn caused by improper technique or tool speed.
This transforms your understanding of tool usage. Speed control, pressure control, and ensuring your bits are clean and sharp are not just about aesthetics. They are about protecting the client's nerve-compromised nail bed from irreversible thermal trauma.
Let's quickly review the major nerves we need to recognize in the extremities so you can integrate them into your massage and pressure points.
Starting with the arm and hand, we have the digital nerve, which supplies the fingers running along the sides.
The radial nerve supplies the thumb side of the arm, including the skin on the back of the hand. When you massage the top of the client's hand or thumb area, you are directly interacting with this pathway.
The median nerve supplies the arm and hand, traveling through the carpal tunnel, hence its importance in repetitive stress discussions.
And the ulnar nerve affects the little finger side of the arm and the palm of the hand. This is often the nerve we gently press on near the elbow during a relaxing arm and hand massage.
For the leg and foot, we have divisions of the large sciatic nerve. The tibial nerve passes behind the knee and supplies the calf muscles, the skin of the lower leg, and the entire sole, heel, and underside of the toes.
The common peroneal nerve divides into two important branches that supply the top of the foot. The deep peroneal nerve supplies the muscles and skin on the top of the foot between the first and second toes.
And the superficial peroneal nerve runs just under the skin of the lower leg, supplying impulses to the skin and toes on the top of the foot.
We also note the saphenous nerve supplying the inner side of the leg and foot, and the sural nerve supplying the outer side and back of the foot and leg. Knowing the general routes helps you apply safe and therapeutically effective pressure during calf and foot manipulations.
Okay, now we transition to Module 4, Circulation, Immunity, and Client Health. This covers the vital internal support systems that determine overall tissue health, healing, and responsiveness to your service.
Right, 4.1. The circulatory system, or the vascular system. Why does this matter intensely? Because it controls nourishment, oxygenation, and cleansing at the cellular level. It's responsible for regulating body temperature.
So recognizing poor circulation like cold, clammy, or bluish hands and feet is essential as it impacts product efficacy and service modification.
Absolutely. The system has two main integrated divisions. The first is the blood vascular system, which includes the heart, arteries, veins, and capillaries that actively distribute blood.
And the second is the lymph-vascular system, lim-vascular system, or the lymphatic system. This aids the blood system by cleaning up and filtering waste through lymph spaces, lymph vessels, and filtering nodes. We will discuss its role in immunity shortly.
The heart. Heart is the powerful self-regulating pump. It's a muscular, cone-shaped organ enclosed by the protective double-layered membrane called the pericardium. Pericardium.
A normal, resting adult heart beats about 60 to 80 times per minute. It's divided into 4 chambers. The 2 upper, thin-walled receiving chambers, called the atria, and the 2 lower, thick-walled pumping chambers, called the ventricles.
And the valves in between ensure blood only flows in one direction. It's a masterpiece of engineering.
Blood circulation follows a carefully choreographed loop with 2 systems. Pulmonary circulation sends deoxygenated blood from the right side of the heart to the lungs. Here, the blood releases carbon dioxide and picks up fresh oxygen.
Then systemic circulation, which is the general loop. It takes that newly oxygen-rich blood returning to the left side of the heart and pumps it out through the arteries to supply the entire body, including the hands and feet, before waste-laden blood returns to the right side to restart the process.
Let's discuss 4.2, blood vessels and composition in detail. The blood vessels are the delivery channels.
Arteries, arteries, are thick-walled, flexible, and muscular. They carry oxygenated blood away from the heart. They are under high pressure and are generally located deeper within the body tissue.
Capillaries, capillaries, are tiny, thin-walled vessels connecting the smallest arteries to the veins. They are the actual delivery and pickup points where oxygen and nutrients are exchanged with the cells, and carbon dioxide and waste are collected.
And veins, V-A-Y-N-Z, are thin-walled and less flexible than arteries. They contain specialized valves to prevent backflow and carry waste products and oxygen-poor blood back toward the heart and lungs.
And here's a crucial safety point. Veins are located much closer to the outer skin surface than arteries. Why does that distinction matter professionally?
It matters because deep pressure applied during intense massage or exfoliation is more likely to impact the superficial venous system than the deep arterial system. Knowing this informs us about safe pressure limits, especially on areas where veins are visibly prominent, to avoid bruising or damaging the vessel walls.
That's a great practical tip. Now, the blood itself. We hold about 8 to 10 pints in our bodies, and its composition is complex.
The blood composition includes red blood cells, produced in the bone marrow, which contain hemoglobin, globin, that's the iron-containing protein, whose sole purpose is to bind and carry oxygen from the lungs to the cells.
White blood cells, leukocytes, are the body's internal defense force. They destroy disease-causing microorganisms, defending the body against foreign substances and infections.
Platelets. Platelets are small, irregular-shaped cells that are essential for hemostasis. They aid in blood clotting to stop bleeding when a vessel is injured.
And the major component is plasma, P-L-A-Z-mu, which is about 90% water. This is the fluid medium that transports all the cells, carries food and useful substances to the cells, and removes waste for elimination.
So the 5 chief functions of blood underscore its importance: carrying O2, water and food to cells, carrying away CO2 and waste, equalizing body temperature, protecting against bacteria, and forming clots.
Let's locate the main blood supply in our areas of focus. For the arms and hands, the blood comes primarily via the brachial artery, which divides at the elbow into the ulnar artery, supplying the little finger side, and the radial artery, supplying the thumb side.
Right. When you take a client's pulse, you are often feeling the radial artery.
And for the legs and feet, the main supply is the popliteal artery, which runs behind the knee and divides into the anterior and posterior tibial arteries. The anterior tibial artery continues down the leg and becomes the dorsalis pedis artery, which supplies the top of the foot.
Next, the closely related auxiliary system. 4.3, lymphatic immune system. This system is absolutely crucial for protecting the client from infection and disease exposure in the spa or salon setting.
It works in tandem with the blood system.
It does. Lymph, L-I-M-F, is a colorless, watery fluid derived from blood plasma that filters out into the tissue spaces. It circulates in lymph capillaries, and as it circulates, it passes through lymph nodes.
These lymph nodes are gland-like structures that act as biological filters. They contain lymphocytes that destroy disease-causing bacteria and prevent the spread of infection.
Exactly. When you feel swollen glands in your neck, you are feeling lymph nodes working overtime to fight infection.
So the primary functions of this system are profound. Carrying nourishment from blood to cells, acting as a defense mechanism against toxins and bacteria, removing waste material from cells and providing a suitable fluid environment for cells.
That waste removal function is why gentle massage, which aids lymphatic flow, is so beneficial.
Let's discuss the internal regulator, 4.4. The endocrine system, endocrine system. This group of specialized glands affects growth, development, and overall health.
This is so relevant because hormonal imbalances, which the endocrine system is responsible for, can visibly cause changes in nail growth, overall oil production, and skin sensitivity. The glands are specialized organs that use blood elements to synthesize new chemical compounds.
We have two fundamental types of glands. Exocrine, EKS-ucrine, or duct glands, produce substances that exit via a duct-like sweat glands and oil glands.
And endocrine, endocrine, or ductless glands release their secretions, called hormones, hormones, directly into the bloodstream, where they travel throughout the body to influence target organs.
Key endocrine glands include the pituitary gland, the master gland, the thyroid gland, and the pancreas.
And the pancreas is critical because its specialized cells, the islets of Langerhans, control the production of insulin and glucagon. Insulin regulates blood sugar levels. And this brings us to one of the most serious, crucial safety notes in our entire discussion: diabetic neuropathy.
Okay, this sounds important.
It is. Uncontrolled or long-term diabetes, driven by insufficient insulin management, often causes sensation loss or neuropathy, particularly in the extremities, the hands and feet. The nerve receptors are permanently damaged.
So what does that mean for a service?
It changes the entire dynamic of a pedicure service. If you were to place a client's feet into a basin of water that was too hot, the client with neuropathy might be completely unable to sense the scalding temperature. A minor cut or burn goes unnoticed, increasing the risk of severe infection or non-healing ulcers.
So the nail technician must act as the client's sensory backup. You must be absolutely hypervigilant regarding water temperature, file friction, and using any sharp implements because the client cannot give you the standard sensory feedback necessary for safety.
Yes, knowledge of the endocrine system and its potential impact here transforms your service from a beauty treatment into a truly protective and preventative care measure.
Finally, let's wrap up with 4.5. Other systems and toxin removal. This reinforces how all these systems work together to maintain homeostasis.
The excretory system, excretory system, is the purification system. Its job is to eliminate waste matter toxins that are formed naturally by cell metabolism. The organs of excretion are the kidneys, the liver, the large intestine, the lungs.
And, most relevant to our work, the skin, which eliminates waste via perspiration or sweat.
Precisely. This means that a lot of those metabolic waste products end up leaving the body right where you're working on the hands and feet. Understanding that toxins leave the body through perspiration underscores the importance of proper cleansing and disinfection during a service.
The digestive system breaks down food into soluble nutrients and waste. The simple relevance. The nutrients that fuel the anabolic process, which builds healthy keratin for nails and skin, come directly from what we eat.
Right. A poor diet leads to poor nail and skin condition. It's that simple.
The respiratory system enables breathing, or respiration, the exchange of carbon dioxide and oxygen in the lungs, LUNGZ, aided by the diaphragm, diaphragm. During inhalation, oxygen is absorbed. During exhalation, carbon dioxide is expelled.
And the connection for us is clear. Healthy tissues must be oxygenated. Poorly oxygenated skin, due to poor circulation or respiratory issues, will look sallow or gray, and it will respond slower or not at all to therapeutic treatments. Remember, oxygen is more essential to survival than food or water.
It's the life force for all your client cells.
It is.
And finally, the integumentary system. Integumentary system. This system encompasses the skin and its accessory organs: hair, glands, sensory receptors, and of course, the nails.
The skin is the largest organ of the body, and the nails are a primary appendage, truly a window into the skin's health. Understanding the skin's barrier function, hydration levels, and how it excretes waste ties every system we've discussed back to the nail technician's chair. The reproductive system is the only system we briefly noted as not being of major importance to the day-to-day services of a nail professional.
That truly brings us to the end of our deep dive, covering the entire human foundation relevant to your professional practice, from the microscopic cell and its metabolic factory, right through to the systemic connections that keep the extremities healthy.
I hope this massive expansion reinforces the professional value of mastering this information. You know, knowing the difference between the radius and the ulna isn't just a pest question. It informs your technique for carpal safety.
Right.
Understanding the danger of onycholysis from friction burn dictates your choice of drill speed. This A&P foundation is what elevates your service from basic maintenance into applied science, preventative health care, and professional mastery, ensuring you are ready to pass those rigorous certification exams.
That's the perfect synthesis. We spent significant time discussing the vital role of blood circulation in regulating temperature and removing metabolic toxins through the skin, especially in the extremities, the very environment where you work.
The hands and feet are constantly engaged in this task, equalizing temperature, fighting bacteria via the lymphatic system, and eliminating byproducts through perspiration. It's a busy place.
So, as a final provocative thought for you to consider as you prepare for your next practical session, if the body is relying on efficient blood flow and tissue health to perform this constant temperature equalization and toxin elimination, how might your most basic service choices, like using water that is too cold, water that is too hot, or choosing an oil-heavy, occlusive moisturizing ingredient versus a lighter, breathable formula, be directly aiding or hindering the body's own natural metabolic and circulatory processes?
That's a great question.
It challenges you to see every product application and every temperature setting as a direct interaction with your client's complex physiology.